let's dive in to the stat sheet on this one because the Boston Celtics, Franco, you kind of alluded to it in your statement there. The Boston Celtics tonight, they were historical from beyond the arc and really in a debatable way whether that or not that historic mark was good or bad because it wasn't about makes, it was about attempts. Tonight, the Boston Celtics took 22 three-pointers in the first quarter. They were 9 of 22 from three after one, however, trailed the Oklahoma City Thunder by three after the first quarter. And then by halftime, the Boston Celtics had shot 36 three pointers on the night by half, and that was the most in a half in NBA history. NBA history. And tonight, of course, at half, the Boston Celtics were 15 of 36 from beyond the arc at half. They finished the game 20 of 63 three-point attempts. Don't have the exact stat on this, but I'm guessing that that is the high for the entire season. I believe 61 was the high previously coming into tonight. The Boston Celtics took 20 or 61 three-point shots against the New York Knicks on opening night. They set their season high on opening night, never topped it again until tonight. 63 three-point attempts for the Boston Celtics. And just to add on to that, 4 of 25 in the second half for the Boston Celtics. Of course, at halftime, they entered 15 of 36, finished the game 4 of 25, and of course, come out and shoot 20 of 63 from the floor. And actually, they might have made one more three in that equation there, just looking at it in the second half. I took that note at the end of the fourth quarter. So might have made another three within there. But the Boston Celtics, they prolifically shoot the ball tonight. And really looking at the lead tracker, we could tell, even with that 3-point shooting, the Boston Celtics were really in a match in which they were really behind most of the time. Look at the lead tracker. That's a lot of blue. It actually looks like a
Wait,
legitimate ocean. I mean, it looks like an actual ocean. It's not the sea of green we want to see. We always want to see that sea of green, but this is a choppy sea of blue for the Boston Celtics at the Garden as they succumb to the Oklahoma City Thunder by 6 at the end. But you see there the Thunder and the Celtics, they were head to head. They were real close there in the fourth quarter. It was within five for halfway through the fourth quarter. It was within five. Felt like the Celtics and the Thunder were going back and forth there for a bit. But as we see within the lead tracker, the Thunder kind of put together a nice little fourth quarter run there at the end and steal the game. I shouldn't even say steal the game from the Boston Celtics because let's face it. I mean, if the Celtics would have won this game, they would have stole this game from the Thunder. But the Thunder
oh,
came in and really took what was rightfully theirs, or what they felt like was rightfully theirs at the end of the game, the way the Thunder played. But you guys see that lead tracker in there, and we talk about the 3-point shot with the Boston Celtics. We'll kind of ring back around on the Celtics, but the Oklahoma City Thunder dominating the paint tonight, dominating the rebounding battle for most of the night. Now, it does say the Boston Celtics won this game in terms of the rebounding battle by one, but for most of the night, Oklahoma City was ahead in that category, and it was very evident out on the floor. But looking at that lead tracker specifically, we see that dip and we see that rise at the end for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And we know in this game, the Thunder and the Celtics, they were right there. They were right there at the end with each other. What exactly went wrong, in your guys' opinion, for the Boston Celtics down the stretch in this game? Was it the rebounding? Was the offensive into the floor? Or was it defensively, the Celtics just not being able to get a stop?
I want to say this. Kind of backtracking on the three, the Boston Celtics live and die by the three ball, and playing such a fast team like the OKC Thunder, they're going to shoot a lot more threes, and you obviously saw it tonight. But I think the biggest issue with that is obviously you saw the Boston Celtics did better in the third quarter, opposed to other games this season where they kind of struggle in the third and fourth quarter. You guys have noticed that, and OKC kind of did their thing in the fourth quarter. I mean, they did their thing all game long. And just coming in there and, I think OKC just wanted this game from the get-go. I mean, you said it looked like an ocean right there. And there we saw little parts of green, like little specks, but we didn't see any big green. We saw OKC's kind of keeping that steady pace, kind of bump down a teeny bit, come rise back up. And in that fourth quarter, they were like, all right, Boston, we're tired of you. We want to put this away. And it was just a rough game. I mean, like you said, rebounding, and it's just OKC is a fast paced team. All right, they're gonna get rebounds. They're gonna play aggressive. And when you have a young, talented team, they're young. Their feet are young. Their legs are fresh. You know, we obviously have some older players on the team, and well, obviously Drew Holiday is one of the faster players in the league. But I'm saying like they have some young people that want to run and they want to be aggressive. So kind of seeing that, I saw like it's one where I'm still hopeful. Like if we face OKC again this season, because you guys saw it last game, we definitely did great in the first half. All right, with Porzingis. Then we crapped the bed in the second. This game, it was. I know how bad that looked, but it was close the whole way through until that kind of fourth quarter took off. Um, and I just wanted to say too, with a full team, I think we do better. And honestly, just a rough one for the Boston Celtics, and one that you kind of want to just see them get rid of, because you guys know the Boston Celtics are more than capable to beat this team for sure. But the outcome, you obviously saw that it was. I love what you said. It was honestly an ocean. It was an ocean from the Thunder, and they just were like, "All right, Boston, we're getting through you guys tonight."
The Boston Celtics didn't control the tempo on their home court tonight whatsoever. The Thunder had full control of tonight's narrative and were really playing the game at their own pace. And when the Celtics are doing that, you really see them playing from behind, and it's been a common fa- been a common factor for the Celtics is when they get punched in the mouth early, it's how well they respond. We don't really see too often where the Celtics are the ones playing catch up with the other team. It's usually the other way around, but in situations where you're facing off with teams like the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have the depth to continue having rotations that are fresh and can compete with your starting lineups, and also can play to the benefactor of their star player, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who had an amazing night tonight, really showed his made a case for the MVP candidacy, and they utilized the fact that the Celtics were tilting the floor towards them to create open cutting lanes to the paint, which we've seen the Celtics do in multiple wins this season, and it did open a lot of these 3-point attempts that the Celtics did take tonight. And I know that the Celtics are a high frequency 3-point shooting team. However, when they find that balance and utilize it as an option and really are able to go to those other looks and be able to become triple threats it and cut to the lane and spread the defense out and drag the bigs like Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren out to the corners. I feel like that opens up so many high percentage looks for the Celtics that the Celtics really just weren't able to find. And it was discouraging for me for the lack of second half adjustments that the Celtics made. Obviously, the whatever the Celtics were able to close out the leads and stretches, it was due to the fact that the Celtics were spreading out the ball and being able to find Derek White and Al Horford, who are usually the third, fourth, or fifth options on the court. And that's why you saw Jaylen Brown kind of get taken out of tonight's game, because they took the focus on Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and had forced the Celtics to try to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder with Al Horford and Derek White, which probably isn't gonna work 1 out of 2 times when it comes down to it. So just being able to have those performances out of your star players is necessary, and also being able to get those contributions from your bench is necessary as well.
Now, considering all the 3-point attempts from the Boston Celtics tonight, we saw 63 of them, of course, for the game, 36 in the first half, 22 in the first quarter. Now, even looking at all those attempts and the Celtics, they were hitting at a very high clip early on in the game. 9 of 22, that's not terrible. 15 of 36, that's not terrible. But if you look at the stat line at the end of the night, they're 20 of 63. And even during those moments in which the Celtics were shooting those attempts and hitting at the clip in which they were hitting at, they were still behind the Oklahoma City Thunder. They were behind the Thunder at halftime. They were behind the Thunder the first quarter, and they were behind the Thunder at the end of the game. So, looking at the Celtics shooting tonight and looking at the balance of threes to twos, because first of all, let's actually diagram this out just a bit here to explain the imbalance between threes and twos. Tonight, the Boston Celtics shot 94 times. All right, 94 times. 31 of those 94 shots came from inside the arc. 31. 63 came from beyond the arc. That is just a
It's
crazy stat. That is a
And
crazy
a
stat.
new coach nightmare. That's
Yeah.
what I would like to call that.
Well,
I
that kind of gets into my next question here, Franco, though, is did those attempts, was the Celtics shooting effective enough to justify the lopsided number of attempts between 2 and 3?
No, because if they were shooting at a higher percentage from getting their field goal percentage and getting looks from the inside, we saw that having Luke Cornett on the court tonight was very effective against the Thunder team. It allowed a little bit of a paint presence for the Celtics during that time, allowed for one of those good comebacks in the third quarter where you thought the Celtics were going to be able to turn this into a close game going into the fourth quarter. It was, I just think that trying to match a high percentage scoring Oklahoma City Thunder team who is getting to the paint, being able to score almost at will against the Celtics defense is a very hard game for the Celtics to play. And just hoping that a few more 3-pointers would have fallen isn't the way you're going to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. And it's not really going to be the way that you're going to be able to beat a lot of these teams. Obviously, the Celtics are a very talented team and they can get away with it on some nights, but when it isn't falling the way the Celtics anticipated to, they need to be able to make those adjustments and be able to start game planning with a different approach to the offensive side and game plan a few more backdoor cuts in. Was a lot of mismatches that the Celtics could have taken advantage of tonight with this Oklahoma City Thunder team. They were missing one of their star wings, Jalen Williams. So that's a player that could have been something that the Celtics could have been able to go around and be able to create some more looks, be able to create a couple more isolation opportunities for Jason Tatum. And the Celtics just failed to do that. And I don't want to say it's a stubbornness from this team. And I think it's just the Celtics team kind of playing with a little bit more of a conservative approach and not really exerting themselves during this regular season, which is a terrible excuse because you want to see this team go in and give 110% on the floor throughout each night on a day-to-day basis throughout the rest of the season because the habits that you build now will create momentum going into playoffs. However, you need to understand that this Celtics team is a little bit banged up at this point, a little bit fatigued. So you're not going to see them putting in those types of efforts to win a regular season game against the Oklahoma City Thunder at this point, which can be of concern if it they allow this to turn into a habit.
Yeah, I want to say this. I love what you said, Franco. the Boston Celtics need to execute, especially with one of their key players out. Obviously, we had no Porzingis, but the Boston Celtics live and die, like I said earlier, live and die by the three ball. You haven't seen much of a change in that game. They love shooting the three. It's obvious. We see them having these historic numbers on how often the Celtics shoot the three. It's kind of a night where the three, I would love to see it be more effective and obviously change the score for sure. Um, Again, I'm gonna say this. I think not having Porzingis, having that big man, I know I'm kind of backtracking a little bit, but not having him definitely affects that because he's one of those people that can give you an occasional three ball, but he's also gonna drive a lot. And I just don't have much to say on that one except kind of like honestly, Franco, you pretty much covered everything. Like I love what you said right there. It's just it was tough shooting for the Boston Celtics tonight, and like they had a lot of shots, but I would have liked to see more for sure.